Ah, it's springtime and nostalgia's in the air. Or maybe that's the smell of Doritos and Monster tainting our livers with their processed deliciousness. Without a doubt, with all the strife that the early 20s have brought us, it doesn't hurt to look back at better times when games first became our source of escape from all that weighed our stubby bodies down. At any rate, today we're considering 10 websites that nurtured our gaming ambition with their simple but addictive library of JavaScript and Flash games by the thousands. Don't tell me you signed up for a library card for the books, or battled with your siblings for playtime before bed. Besides popular belief, you were gaming, at least at its fledgling stages. Before we get started, if you could take a second, consider the sponsor of this video, the like and subscribe buttons. It would help me out if you're into gaming or tech if you could give those buttons a click. This helps me know if we're on the right track with video subjects and content. Without further ado, let's get on with the list. Number 10, crazymonkeygames.com. Now with this pick, like most of the sites on this list, put the bait in the word clickbait. Between the avarice that ran on the page and the content of some of the games, while extremely mild to some, this wasn't exactly the place 9 or 10-year-old me wanted to be caught at school because of some of the stuff that would pop up. It's a lot better now, but the ads are still just as annoying, if not more family friendly. I came to the site for more action-oriented games, many featuring stick figures or other crudely animated characters engaging in bloody gun battles, but on the whole, the website featured a healthy variety of puzzle games, sports games, and melee fighting games. Number 9, Boardcom. Boardcom follows up Crazy Monkey Games as they both fall not too far from the tree of crudely morbid action game sites that come with a healthy sprinkle of puzzle solving that made for an unhealthily addictive pastime. Whether I chose between Crazy Monkey or Board.com depending on what the school servers would allow me to access. Hey, the sites were not that bad, but imagine trying to explain to your middle school teacher why you were playing this instead of getting a leg up on your homework like you promised. Unfortunately, Board.com reached the end of its life in the early 20s. Some suggest that its changeover to the Flash platform was its downfall, but for a website that stayed up for nearly 20 years, I say it had a good run. Now, the site and its games remain generally inaccessible, aside from snapshots made through archive.org. Number 8, Cool Math for Kids. For a site that was both teacher and parent approved, Cool Math for Kids was surprisingly entertaining. It tricked us into learning and we barely even realized it. It may sound lame, but it wasn't in the slightest to us kids. We were gaming with lethal intent, all the while challenging ourselves and others as well. The best scores belonged to the smartest kids in the class, and it became our goal to strip them of their titles. Computer time wasn't just a fun way to kill an hour, it became a war zone, systematically grouping us into the haves and the have-nots, the winners and the losers of elementary. Cool Math is still up and running, but not nearly to the extent that it was back in the day. There used to be dozens of good games. Now there's only a few that are shared between categories. Number 7, primarygames.com. While it wasn't the go-to site for teachers as it had a lot of pop-ups, Primary had a library of games that dwarfed that of Cool Math for Kids as it featured titles that often had little to no educational value but were fun nonetheless. Imagine Board.com with less homicide. What set Primary Games apart was the fact that it was a site for general kids entertainment. It had puzzles, videos, arts and crafts. There wasn't much it didn't offer to keep your kid entertained on a rainy day. And if I remember correctly, the site did feature some 3D titles, which was a big deal back in the day, what with the vast majority of games we played at school featuring only 2D characters and animations. Number 6, Poptropica. Now I'm reaching far back in my memory banks for this one, guys. Poptropica among us kids was one of the top sites for recess time gaming. At least it was when that wench librarian would let us play non-educational games. Of course Poptropica was educational. It taught us problem solving and the value of healthy competition as we played online with other kids around the globe. Now, I didn't play this one too much, which contributes to the reason why I don't remember much, but I did really like the point-and-click adventure-style gameplay where walkthroughs were created and shared amongst students. It was like the first gaming community I was a part of, and probably the most significant one, especially being that I nowadays am more of a gaming introvert when it comes to multiplayer titles. Number 5 and number 4, Nickelodeon.com and CartoonNetwork.com. Best played at a public library where internet speeds were adequate for the lively animations and video pop-ups. Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon used to be really awesome, but it's very watered down now. How do I describe it? Commercialized. I appreciate that the UK branch of Cartoon Network still hosts a site where you can play just some of the classic games from classic shows of our era, Cow and Chicken, Johnny Bravo, Ed, Edd n Eddy, etc. Nickelodeon, on the other hand, has erased its past content and online games entirely, all except for SpongeBob and Fairly Odd Parents. But I haven't sat and watched an episode of either of these shows in literal years, so I guess I can't say much about them critically. Fortunately, if you want to see either site at the peak of their lifetimes, archive.org has snapshots of the websites, which I found 2010 to 2012 to be the golden years. You can't play games, but you can at least see what I'm talking about. All in all, they were great ways to interact with the shows we loved. Number 3, PBSKids.org. Till this day, if you ask me what station had the best entertainment for kids and adults, PBS hands down takes the cake. I mean, they had Sesame Street, Clifford the Big Red Dog, and the criminally underrated Cyber Chase, just to mention a few. PBS was ahead of its time in engaging with its audience and making you feel a part of the shows at home. Its website continued this trend, and I even remember them hosting an email address where you could send messages to different characters of the shows. My sister talked me into sending a message to Arthur telling him how much I hated the show, which wasn't true, and hoping he would die or something like that. Well, we got a message a couple of hours later telling us how sorry Arthur was that we didn't like the show, but wished us well anyway. It was hilarious. I wish modern sites and broadcasting stations had as much backbone and relatability as PBS, but that was a special time in the history of internet, unlikely to be recreated. Number 2, Club Penguin. Before discovering the final spot on this list, I remember being hooked on the classic Club Penguin, a place where you could customize, game, and chat with others on the web. One of my favorite pastimes besides the mini games was taking care of my Puffle, a furry little critter that had needs of its own and a happiness meter that relied on your feeding and playing with it with regularity. Your Puffle, alongside with the customization of your penguin or igloo, became my introduction to the microtransactions. I remember visiting the igloos of some more wealthy penguins, where they would have flashing dance floors, DJ sets, televisions, hardwood floors, furniture. Heck, you know your scope of life is small when you're jealous of someone who can afford to put sunglasses and a bandana on a virtual pet, or have stainless steel refrigerators in their kitchen. And just to show how small our world was in elementary, I considered it a tremendous honor to be given the role of secret agent, protecting online users from scammers and child predators at the pizza shop where most would frequent. Don't ask me why the pizza shop was the go-to place for weirdos. It just happened to be the place, but it just happened also to be the place where the game damn near went dating sim, inviting others online to come back to their igloos. Seriously, like what the heck? Number 1, MinecraftForFree.com. Does this final entry need an introduction? It's Minecraft for free. At least it was until Notch weighed down his heavy hand and had the site shut down in 2012. MinecraftForFree.com was my introduction to Minecraft following the discovery of it on YouTube. Back in the day, I just assumed get everything for free, even when my parents would have gotten it for me anyway. I guess I didn't think they bothered to put money down on something that wasn't physical, like a new Nerf gun or a Lego set. I remember my internet was so bad, the game was more of a slideshow, but when I turned down the draw distance to get a better FPS, I was afraid of Herobrine appearing in the shadows, so I would just stay underground. The whole body of enjoying something at such a low quality was really endearing for some strange reason. MinecraftForFree.com is my number 1 pick because it makes me want to go back to this time when things were simpler, and discovery of something new on the web was a personable experience. Well, that's the list, guys. I hope you enjoyed this fun, brief little video. Do you agree with this list? In the comments below, let me know what sites you remember playing at as a kid. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thanks again for watching, and Godspeed your return.